Hey guys, what's up? Welcome to Game 2 of MMA versus ST Bomber. So, in the bottom right corner, we are going to be spawning, of course, as I just said, Mr. Bomber himself, playing for Team Startail. In the top right, we're going to be seeing MMA, who obviously is another fantastic Terran. Both of these Terrans, like I said in Game 1, have been extremely dominant in the Terran age, I suppose, or in the Terran race. I guess there's not much of a Terran age going on right now. Anyway, we'll see how both of these players decide to open up the game. In the last game, they were both extremely similar builds, so we'll see what ends up happening there. I would expect probably a Reaper or an early SCV scout, because you don't want to get some scouting done on this map, and we're most likely going to see a lot more of a macro game than last map, simply because it is a lot harder to go for those early wins and cheeses, since there is such long distances between, say, this base to this base. It really does take a long time to get those units to move all the way across there, unless of course you can get a proxy going. But the problem with getting proxies on this map is that you have to scout the base first, so really you don't know exactly where your opponent's going to be until you see it, which takes time, of course. So, looks like the builds are similar so far, but you're not going to see much deviation up to this point. I would expect the gases to be coming down about now for both players, around that 15 supply, just so they can start getting those minerals for other things, or the gas, I'm sorry. You don't need gas for things that cost minerals most of the time. It looks like both of them are going for CC first builds. Pretty common on these large maps because you want to get that economy started, and it's just going to help you overall translate into the late game a lot better than it would starting out with, say, a Reaper. The Scout is coming out for MMA. Nothing has left for Bomber yet. Same as last game, Bomber never really sent out a Scout, but Bomber is smart enough of a player, I think, to know that on a big map like this, MMA is really not going to be trying to get too aggressive. Now, on the last map like Belcher Vestige, it was, of course, a lot more possible, yet he still did not go for that. So we'll see what they decide to go for in this game. Still similar builds. MMA getting his gas quite a bit sooner than Bomber is, but that's really the only difference we're seeing at this point. So it is possible with him sending the scout out, once it does see Bomber's base, or even just once it sees this base, because then he'll know Bomber's over here, of course. It's possible that he might want to go for a Banshee, just a late 2-base Banshee, which isn't a bad idea, I don't believe, but it's... if Bomber does happen to scout him at any point in this game in the next couple minutes or so, then he should be able to see that that Banshee is coming, because you can always click on here and see how much gas has been mined. And of course that can give you a pretty decent idea of what's going on. Both of these players starting into a bit of marine production. A bunker going down for MMA. No bunker for Bomber yet, so Bomber is going to have a bit of a mineral lead early, but it looks like he's not really spending that too much right now. So yes, he will have that small little lead. He's getting a piece going up and scouting here. He actually scouted in the correct direction. So here coming down, that Marine tries to deny it. Looks like this Marine will successfully be able to deny that from going into the main base. So as of right now, I don't think Bomber saw that. But either way, with that bunker being there, he knows that this expansion is going down. And for the most part, I think that he believes MMA is going to be trying to defend more than getting aggressive. But we will see. Bunker coming down for Bomber, just because he didn't scout anything. So it's always good to get that defensive bunker down just in case. Whenever you don't know what's going on with your opponent, it's always a good idea to either drop a scan down or just start playing defensive in advance. Just because obviously before you kill anything you want to like not die. Remember, defense before aggression for the most part. 2 gases down for MMA. It looks like it's been that way for a bit. Tech Lab's going to come down on the factory just so they can swap out once that starport is done. Marine's going to be getting into that bunker, and looks like we do have the starport coming out for Bomber as well. We'll see if he decides to put a Tech Lab down. He's going to be producing a Widow Mine and sending it down here, so it looks like he may just be correctly guessing there. Oh, well, he scanned. So yep, he's good with that Widow Mine. What he may have been trying to do there with the Widow Mine, he actually did cancel it, I believe, is that he was just going to cancel if it was like probably already done, since he didn't actually see the expansion. But instead what he just went ahead and did is just canceled it because he knew the Banshee wasn't going to be done quite yet, since he scanned at a good time to where he could see him swapping. So for now in the game, we're going to just see both players going into more not conservative, but just going to be trying to start getting what advantages they can. I'm actually not sure if I agree with the cloak here. I can still kind of see the Banshee working out, but usually once it's been scouted out how it is and you pretty well know that your opponent's going to be prepared, more often than not, I think the better idea is to just maybe get out that Banshee and try to get some damage done. But the cloak is just an extra 100 minerals and 100 gas. You really don't need to invest in this attack since you already know it's probably not going to be doing a ton of damage, unless you can really start to make your opponent kiss on what's going on. This drop and the Banshee going to be actually catching each other out. Marine's going to be dropped, but he needs to go ahead and pick him up. Looks like he was able to save all the Marines. Just a little bit of damage on the medevac, and he also delayed that Banshee a little bit on getting into his base. Though that's not really a big deal, because he does have the missile turret up here. So nothing too big going to be coming out from this Banshee. And Banshee's just going to take 1 shot, 2 shots, and get out of there. Looks like Bomber will be healing up these couple units over here, maybe trying to go into the main or something. But he's just going to try and get something done with that drop over there. Like I said, both players just looking for any leads they can get at this point. This Viking should be moving around to look for this Banshee instead of just sitting here, I think. But I suppose that's just me. Bomber actually able to get these units out of the medevacs, which is pretty good because he's going to be delaying a little bit of mining time on this base. All the Marines, of course, will get taken out. But in the end, he did kill at least a few SCVs. He did lose more Marines, but the loss of the SCVs is a lot bigger than the loss of the Marines. The Vikings will be coming over and trying to kill this Banshee, which looks like it took some shots earlier. We'll see if he can keep up with that Glimmer. It can be kind of hard sometimes, and the Banshee's just fast enough to get away. Another Banshee coming out, which again, I really don't agree with him continuing to pump out these Banshees, but hey, I'm not a pro Terran, so they obviously know a heck of a lot better than I do. I guess with him just catching a couple of those Marines, he wants to see if maybe there's not enough Marines here to really be mobile enough to kill this Banshee. Looks like a double drop coming out. Maybe he wants to try and just catch this Banshee out by dropping over here. But more likely than not, he just wants to try and get and do some SCV damage, which is definitely preferable at this point. And if we check the production tab, we can see that 1-0 has been started, or actually 1-1 has been started for MMA, and only 1-0 has been started for Bomber. So we'll see how much of an advantage that ends up getting MMA with that slight upgrade advantage. Unless, of course, he already has... Oh, he already has 1-0. So looks like MMA is actually a little bit behind. Although once this is done, we will be even in terms of upgrades. This Viking, we'll see if he can catch it. I believe the Banshee should be fast enough to escape those Vikings. So nothing too big coming out from there. MMA is just trying to take a little bit of map control by moving out to these watchtowers, which is, of course, never a bad idea. This Viking behind here is actually a good idea because, obviously, this Viking can come up here, and then if the Banshee tries to move upwards, then this Viking will catch it. So he does end up catching that Banshee and killing it off, just because MMA wasn't able to really pay too much attention to it because he needs to be doing things back at his base. Those Banshees really not too smart of an investment anyway. We've got an idle SCV over here. I don't know if it's blocked by that engineering bay actually. Even if it was, though, you could get some medevacs over there and pick it up and drop it off. It's probably worth just doing that little bit just to get that 40 extra minerals a minute. Third base going to be moving out for MMA. No third base on its way for Bomber at the moment. So we'll see if MMA can at least hold this push coming out from Bomber. He will have an economic advantage coming. Looks like we've got 3 siege tanks for Bomber, 3 siege tanks for MMA. But if we check the units tab, it looks like Bomber's going to have about a 10 Marine lead. So we'll see how he can make that work for him. If he goes ahead and sieges up about right here, he should be able to hit that mineral line just in this spot right here. So the SCVs won't be able to mine quite as efficiently on this base. Couple Marines going forward and scouting out a bit. MMA should be sieging up at this point. Yep, he's going to go ahead and siege up right there. Looks like a couple units are going to take some shots, just kind of getting a feel for the edge of that siege tank range. And these are going to be forming a little bit of a wall, so he's not able to quite get in there. Looks like a Doom Drop headed up towards the main, though. It is going to be snuffed out by some sensor towers, but that is a long run into the main from here. We'll see if MMA can defend this, but this looks like a pretty dang scary drop coming out from Bomber. Siege tanks will be sieging up. A couple units over here trying to take out the siege tanks. MMA trying to push forward into these 2 siege tanks, but they are just blasting away at these 1-1 Marines of MMA. One siege tank getting caught out there from Bomber. Right now, Bomber is just on top of the production, which is making it obviously very hard for MMA to produce things. He gets the starport and a barracks, so we'll see if he just heads out. He's going to give him a pretty decent lead at this point. Viking's going to be trying to kill off some of those medevacs. ultimately, that was this so far has been a very good drop from Bomber, even catching a couple Vikings at this point. Ooh, that's just really doing a good job of keeping MMA's production low. Another group of units going to be coming in from here to get the third base. He's going to be dropping right on top of these siege tanks. Going to be able to kill them off actually quite easily. Drop in the main plus the attack at the third. This could be a very, very game-changing move from Bomber, especially if he can snipe his orbital, which it looks like he's going to be able to do. It is floating away, but obviously it's very slow, and all he really needs to do is get to the point where it's burning down, which of course he is doing, and he's going to go ahead and take that out. So Bomber right now is going to have a very significant lead. Checking the units lost now, he's lost about 3,000 less resources than MMA. He did lose a couple medevacs at Orlo, so that evens it up just a little bit. But right now he's just catching everything he can, getting the lead, obviously, anywhere he possibly can. 2-2 is on its way for MMA, no 2-2 on its way for Bomber, and no, he does not have those completed yet. One thing that's good to note is that MMA, he does not have combat shields, and the combat shields aren't even researched. Oh wait, yes they are. They're about done. Sorry about that. Combat shields will be finishing up right now. It would have been helpful for him to have a little bit ago. Looks like another Doom drop might be coming in here from Bomber. If this gets in the base, I don't know what it'll do. This army is kind of in a decent position, but it needs to be down here if it wants to effectively defend from this drop. Oh, MMA. Ooh, looks like he's going to get dropped on yet again in the main base. A couple of siege tanks going to be sieging up here. Oh, and we'll see if MMA can fight this one back a little bit better than he did the last one. So far, the answer looks like it's going to be no. He's trying to get the starport again, because if he gets a good enough medevac lead like he already has, oh, this could be very bad. The starport goes down for a second time. He's going to be coming in and cleaning up the rest of this drop. But ultimately, he is cleaning up these drops, but he's cleaning them up so inefficiently and losing so many units in doing so that now he's even going to be able to push into the natural. We can very well see GG from MMA as he's just been pushed back so far. Bomber even has a third on the way, so now he's going to have the economic lead. A drop here in the back could be coming in for Bomber at any moment. Oh, medevac even getting caught out from MMA that was probably supposed to go out and drop. And you can just see that the units are just streaming across the map for Bomber. 2-2 is going to be completing for MMA here, so he needs to try and push out here and take a bit more control of this game back. He does have a bit of a siege tank lead, I believe. Yes, he has a 4 siege tank lead. So he just needs to be able to defend, but another drop coming in here, going to be delaying and forcing a cancel on the third. And right now, I believe we are going to see a GG from MMA. The starport going to get sniped again, most likely. Oh no, SCVs will come to repair. He knows he can't lose that a third time. Medevac should just try to get out of there. He actually is going to pick up those Marines and just go ahead and fly out. So Bomber just being very efficient with these drops. Looks like we have a third Doom drop coming out. It might even just meet up with this one to get another medevac mixed in there. But with no more sensor towers out for Bomber, there's really no way to detect this. Although after the style that Bomber has been playing, you'd think he would expect it at this point. He's just going to be abandoning this base. He knows he needs that mineral income a lot more than he needs the gas income at this point, or really at any point in the game. Marine's going to be moving over here, just fighting for that watchtower. If they could snuff out this base and even snipe that orbital, the army is all the way over here. So if he actually gets in and drops right there and loses this base, I don't think there's any way MMA will come back. He actually is going to see that and just go ahead and unload right here. These units can hit something, but the DPS on the Marines looks like it's going to be enough to get that orbital. And look, they're going to see an all-in coming up from MMA. He knows he has to either win the game now or he loses. Oh, and Bomber fighting the siege tanks unsieged. And MMA calls the GG before the fight really ever even happened. Those last little patch of units, if he had had those siege tanks sieged up, these Marines would most likely be dead. Especially with a small upgrade lead he had. If those siege tanks had been able to get sieged up, that could have been a very different fight. But anyway, Bomber and MMA are now tied at 1-1 in their WCS series. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, go ahead and like and please subscribe to my channel if you would like to do so. Really helps me out and I sure appreciate the support. But anyway, I will go ahead and see you guys for Game 3 of MMA vs.